The coffee cup trembled in Marcus Webb's calloused hands as he counted out quarters and dimes on the cafe counter, his 5-year-old daughter Emma tugging at his work-stained jacket. 23 cents short. Again. Heat crept up his neck as the barista waited, patient but awkward, while the line behind him grew restless. This was supposed to be their Saturday treat, their one moment of normalcy after another 60-hour work week at the construction site. But normalcy had become a luxury Marcus could barely afford since his wife Sarah had passed away 2 years ago, leaving him to navigate single fatherhood on a threadbare budget and an ocean of grief. As he mumbled an apology and started to back away, coins clinking back into his pocket and his daughter's hopeful face crumbling, a soft voice from behind stopped him cold. "Add their order to mine, please. And make it 2 hot chocolates instead, with extra whipped cream." Marcus turned, and the world seemed to tilt on its axis. Standing behind him in an elegant charcoal business suit, her hair swept back in a sophisticated twist, was a face he hadn't seen in 15 years but would have recognized anywhere. Elena Rodriguez. His first love. The girl who had shared his dreams under the bleachers at Lincoln High, who had talked about changing the world while they split dollar menu burgers, who had disappeared to college on the East Coast while he stayed behind to help his sick father. Elena. The name came out as barely a whisper. Her professional composure flickered, replaced by something softer, more vulnerable. Marcus. Oh my God, Marcus Webb. Emma, confused by the sudden tension in her father's shoulders, pressed closer to his leg. Elena's eyes dropped to the little girl, and something indefinable passed across her face, recognition, perhaps, or understanding of all the chapters she'd missed in Marcus's life. They moved away from the counter, drinks in hand, and the words tumbled out awkwardly at first. Elena explained she was back in town for just 1 day, visiting her mother before flying back to San Francisco. She worked in tech now. Marcus nodded, not catching the carefully vague way she described her work, too overwhelmed by the surreal coincidence to read between the lines. For Marcus, the explanation was simpler and infinitely harder. Sarah. Cancer. Emma, who had been only 3 when her mother died. The job that paid the bills but consumed his life. The apartment they'd downsized to twice. The careful choreography of childcare swaps with his neighbor Mrs. Chen, the food bank visits he pretended were special shopping trips, the way he'd learned to make 1 package of pasta stretch across 4 meals. Elena listened with an intensity that made him uncomfortable, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. She didn't offer the platitudes he'd grown to hate, the "she's in a better place," and "you're so strong," that well-meaning strangers always served up. She just listened, occasionally asking Emma gentle questions about her favorite colors and whether she liked dinosaurs or princesses better. Both, Emma declared solemnly. Princesses who ride dinosaurs. Elena's laugh was genuine, warm. That's the best answer I've ever heard. As they talked, Marcus couldn't help but notice the subtle markers of Elena's success, the designer bag that probably cost more than his monthly rent, the sleek smartwatch, the way the cafe staff seemed to recognize her and treat her with particular deference. A small, bitter part of him wondered what she saw when she looked at him now, the boy who'd stayed behind, who hadn't chased the big dreams they'd once shared, who was struggling to keep his head above water. When they finally stood to leave, Elena touched his arm. Marcus, can I ask you something? It might sound strange, but would you let me help? Pride flared hot in his chest. We're doing fine, Elena. I take care of my daughter. I know you do. I can see that. Her voice was firm but kind. But I also know what pride costs, and I remember a boy who once helped me study for every calculus test because I was too stubborn to admit I needed tutoring. You told me that accepting help wasn't weakness, it was wisdom. He had said that, hadn't he? A lifetime ago. Let me give you my number, she pressed. Just think about it. No strings, no judgment. Just someone who remembers who you were and can see who you still are. Against his better judgment, Marcus took the business card she pressed into his hand. Only later, when Emma was asleep and he was alone with the crushing weight of unpaid bills spread across his kitchen table, did he actually look at it. Elena Rodriguez, CEO, Quantum Solutions Inc. His fingers trembling, he pulled out his phone and searched the name. The results made his breath catch. Elena wasn't just successful, she was a titan. Her tech company had revolutionized clean energy storage, making her one of Forbes's 40 under 40. Her net worth was estimated in the hundreds of millions. She'd been featured on magazine covers, given TED Talks, advised senators on technology policy. And she'd bought him a $3 coffee. The absurdity of it made him laugh, a sound that turned into something closer to a sob. Here he was, barely scraping by, and his first love had become someone who could probably buy the entire cafe without checking her bank balance. His phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "I hope you don't mind, I got your number from the cafe receipt. I know this is forward, but I meant what I said. My company has a children's scholarship fund and a family support program. No charity, just resources for families who need them. Emma deserves every opportunity, Marcus. Please let me send you the information." Another text followed immediately. "Also, we're hiring for our new construction division, sustainable building projects. Good pay, benefits, normal hours. I thought of you. Not because I pity you, but because I remember how you used to sketch building designs in your notebook margins. You had vision, Marcus. You still do." Marcus stared at the messages until they blurred. Every instinct screamed at him to refuse, to maintain his dignity, to prove he didn't need rescuing, especially not by the girl he'd once loved and let go. But then he looked at the pile of medical bills he'd been slowly paying off, $5 at a time. He thought about Emma's shoes with the soles wearing thin, about the school field trip permission slip he'd had to decline because he couldn't afford the $20 fee. He remembered Alina's words, accepting help wasn't weakness, it was wisdom. More than that, he remembered something else. When they were 17, Alina's mother had been laid off, and her family had faced eviction. Marcus's father, despite his own illness, had hired Alina's mother at his small accounting firm and advanced her 3 months' salary. Elena had cried in Marcus's arms that night, overwhelmed by the kindness. "That's what people do," his father had said simply. "We help each other through the hard times. Someday, she'll help someone else. That's how it works." With shaking hands, Marcus typed his response, "Thank you. Not just for the offer, but for remembering. For seeing me. Can we talk more about this?" The reply came instantly, "Coffee tomorrow. My treat. We have a lot of catching up to do." As Marcus finally crawled into bed that night, emotionally exhausted but somehow lighter than he'd felt in years, he heard Emma's sleepy voice from her room. "Daddy, I like your friend. She's nice. She is, sweetheart. She really is. Is she going to be our friend forever?" Marcus thought about the twists of fate, about kindness rippling forward across years, about the possibility of second chances, not in romance, but in something perhaps more profound, connection, support, the kind of friendship that transcends time and circumstance. "I think maybe she is, Em. I think maybe she is." In the darkness, Marcus smiled, and for the first time in 2 years, he allowed himself to hope that struggling and surviving might not be his only options. Sometimes, the universe sends help from the most unexpected places, wearing the face of someone who once knew your dreams and still believes you're capable of achieving them. Sometimes, pride needs to step aside for possibility. And sometimes, a chance encounter at a cafe counter is really a reminder that no one makes it through this life alone. We all need someone to believe in us, especially when we've forgotten how to believe in ourselves.